Curtis A reached out to me, said make a theme song for my show. Said alright, just give me all the details, man. And my homie says he don't know. Well, if you're gonna pay me big bucks, cause I might should have something to say. He said, you know what I bring, I'm the customizing king, nothing else matters anyway. So is he gonna have guests? I don't know. Is he gonna go live? I don't know. What time will it be? What will you see? I'm pretty much in the dark, but I can guarantee he'll be customizing action figures, getting paint all on his fingers. It's art by Akerman. It's art by Akerman. Tips and tricks and conversation, sharing his gift with every nation. It's art by Akerman. Art by Akerman. You best get ready, cause now it's time for Art by Akerman.
Hello there. Today we're going to take a look at some technical, some texture paints for snow and ice effects and see what we can come up with. So I've got three different ones we're going to look at. First one here is this Green Stuff World snow texture. And then we've got Green Stuff World liquid frost. And then the last one that we have is this Citadel Valhallan Blizzard. So those are the three we're going to look at. I've got some of these D&D miniature stands. They are primed up in Citadel Wraithbone primer. So I've got 6 of those. We're going to do one for each of those 3 paints with a brush-on effect. And then we're going to do one for each of those 3 with a stippling effect and just kind of see what we come up with. So starting off, I'm going to start off with this snow textures. So let's get that one open and take a look what we got. So kind of pasty. It's like, looks like back when you were in school, if you used like the paste with the stick, kind of looks like that. So I'm going to get some out. I'm going to use these little sticks that I've got. I'm just going to kind of scoop some of that out. It's very, very interesting. So right off the bat, it's very kind of clumpy. So I'm not sure. Maybe adds a little water to it. Let's see. Maybe let's try reading the bottle. Let's see what the bottle says here. So we have got acrylic texture for snow effects, developed to create extreme realism. Texturize and colors the surface, apply in layers of the desired thickness. It can be diluted with water or acrylic thinner to modify the fluidity. So that's this first one here. So it does say that we can add some water to kind of thin it out. So let's try to. We'll try to do that. So we got that one there. Let me get just a little bit more. Maybe. There we go. All right, so we got some of that one there. Got a few different brushes here. Got a kind of just a regular base brush. This is a 1. And then I've got a tester's brush. And they start out flat like this. And then after a while, when they get a little worn, they kind of spread out and they get a little bit better for like dry brushing and stuff. So I'm going to use this for my stippling effect. I'm going to use this one for just kind of applying it straight on there. So I'm going to get some water on my palette and mix some of this up with the water. Looks kind of like slush outside, like if it had been snowing and you got a little bit of that by the street. Looks kind of like that. So add a little bit more water. All right. So you can get one of these bases and we're just gonna apply some of this to this. So just put it on pretty thick. Just brushing it on. Okay, so I've applied that there. You can see there's some spots that are kind of more clumped up and some spots that are thinner. So we'll see how that looks once that dries. Clean my brush. And for educational purposes, this is a Citadel pot here. And this is good for your brushes. It's got a like ridge on the bottom, so you can kind of go back and forth here as you're cleaning this. And then it's got a spot on the side that allows you to bring that brush kind of back to a point. So these are usually about 10 bucks, very highly recommended. And then if you need, some further cleaning, if you got something that went into kind of the deep part of the bristles, this Masters brush cleaner works really well. And with this, you just kind of go in like a circular pattern very lightly. And that'll kind of work that stuff into the brush and help break up anything that might be in there. And then once again, just use your water pot and then you go from there. Part it back to a point. And then I usually put the lids back on here. So here's the lid for that, and then I'll just put the lid back on and I'll put it back over to the side. So now I'm going to do the stippling technique with the same stuff. Once again, this is the Green Stuff Snow Textures. Get some more water, mush this stuff up a little bit. It's very, very pasty, so make it into kind of a slush. All right, so now I'm going to use a stippling technique. Stippling, you're just kind of like dabbing it, really. You're just, like this. So instead of brushing it back and forth, you're just kind of just popping it on there. And it's kind of creates more of a random pattern you see there, where you don't have strokes, you don't have, where it's all like looking the exact same. You just got a bunch of, different clumpy areas, and it looks more natural, I think. So we'll put that one to the side. So those two are our snow textures. Our next one that we're going to use is this Green Stuff World Liquid Frost. And I will read that to you here. Liquid frost is a saline solution which creates a crystalline structure simulating frost. Apply multiple layers and leave to dry between 4 and 24 hours. Subsequent applications could reactivate the crystalline process due to its composition under certain external conditions such as humidity, temperature, and surface. It can create larger crystals. So whereas the first one is supposed to more represent snow, this is supposed to be more like ice or frost. So let's see how this goes. So right away you can see it's definitely a more liquidy than what we were dealing with the snow texture. Grab another base here, and we're going to use a number 2 brush here. So I'm just applying this, just kind of brushing it on. It's very thin compared to the last stuff that we used. Just trying to make sure I get the whole area covered. Okay, so we'll see, that's how it looks like when it's wet, and we'll see once it dries what we're looking at. All right, next we are going to try the liquid frost again. This time we're going to use a stippling technique, but I'm not sure if it's going to do much because this is very liquidy. So you may not see much of a difference between the stippling and brushing it on, but we'll see how this goes. Okay, I applied it pretty liberally in a stippling technique. You can see some bubbles there. I'm just going to leave that how it is and see how this dries and how that comes out. Last one we're going to use here is the technical paint from Citadel. This is Valhallan Blizzard. As we open this up and take a look, looks similar to the first one in terms of like a pastiness. A little bit wetter than the first one was. We may not have to add as much, water to that. And let's see what this one says. This one says absolutely nothing. There are no instructions on this one on how to use it. So Valhallan Blizzard, no instructions. So here we go. Let's see what we can do. Going to grab another one of these little sticks over here and just try to scoop some of this out. It's a little bit finer than the first one. Yeah, it's an interesting texture. The first one was very dry. This is not near as dry. So I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like almost like a cottage cheese, I guess. I don't know. It's interesting. All right, let's see what we have with this one. So I am going to add a little bit of water to this. Don't know if I'm supposed to be adding water to this because there were 0 instructions. So let's see how this goes. All right, and we're just gonna try to brush this on pretty heavily. Okay, so there you go. That's with it brushed on. We're gonna put that to the side and see how that comes out. All right, for the last one, we're going to try that same Valhallan Blizzard from Citadel. We're gonna try a stippling technique with this one. So we're just gonna try to kind of blot it on there and see how that looks. So let me get some of that on this brush. And we're just gonna kind of blot that around. Pretty heavily. So there we go. And we'll put that down and let that dry and we'll see how those look. All right, we're gonna take a look at some of the results of these and see what we think. So first one we started with was this green stuff snow texture. So this first one is where we just kind of spread it on. You see there kind of what it looks like. The second one is where we did the stippling effect. That's what that looks like. And then because of the base coat on there, I felt like it made it a little difficult to see like how this was actually coming out. So I did another one on just a black base with no primer. So this is what that looks like. So that's the snow texture. I think that makes it a little bit easier to see kind of how that comes out. Next, we did the liquid frost. So this was the first one where we spread it on. I think that looks pretty cool. I'm not sure if that's picking that up well, but It created this nice crystalline effect, but because of the way that we brushed it on, it's like the way it crystallized is kind of in streaks. It looks pretty neat. So the second one was where we did the stippling effect. And you can see that one kind of crystallized up a little bit differently, especially on the ends here. You can see where it kind of shot out. And then did the same thing with that on a black base because, like I said, that with that primer, it was kind of hard to see what it was doing. So this is what it looked like just on a regular base with nothing, no primer or anything. So you can see all the little crystals on the edge and stuff and kind of how it formed in the middle. And it did say on there that the more that you apply that, kind of the more that it'll crystallize up. So that one's kind of neat. I like that. And then the last one was this Valhallan Blizzard, which had no instructions. And this was when we brushed it on. So this is kind of what that looked like. Then you've got when we did the stippling effect, and you can see here we've got more kind of like clumps of snow where it gathered up, which is kind of neat. And then we did that one also on just a black with no primer. And I think as far as like actual, like if we wanted to look at the look of snow, I think this is probably the best as far as snow. The second one with the frost is really cool, but I think this is the best snow. So what I did then was I did one more, and I took the snow effects of this one, and I wanted to add some of the frost of this one. So I did both, and this is kind of how that came out. Doesn't look much different from just the snow, the Valhallan Blizzard, but there are some spots in between where instead of it drying like more black like this one did, you can see like some iciness in there. So it looks kind of like snow and ice together. So I think those two combined, a little Valhallan Blizzard, and then maybe some kind of liquid frost in between might be the way to go. But all that being said, all of these look like, if I just take this one, for instance, which is the Valhallan Blizzard by itself, it looks a little dry, and snow is not supposed to be dry. So what I think I'm going to do is put a gloss coat, Mr. Super Clear Gloss, on each of these, and then come back and show you what those look like with a gloss clear coat on it. So we're going to do that, and then I will be back. Okay, I'm back, and I have done the gloss coat on these. So we're going to take a look again. Once again, this is the snow texture from Green Stuff World. So here is where I brushed it on. Then you've got where I did the stippling effect. And then here it is on just a black base. Next, we have the Green Stuff World Liquid Frost. And this is where I brushed it on. Here is where I did the stippling effect. And here is where I used just the black base on there. And I did a stippling effect on all the black bases, just FYI. And then finally, we have got Citadel Valhallan Blizzard. And here is the brush on look. Here is the stippling look. And then here is stippling on a black base with a gloss clear coat. The clear coat I use, by the way, is Mr. Super Clear UV Gloss, pictured here. And then the last one I've got here is using the Valhallan Blizzard, as well as some of the Liquid Frost with a gloss clear coat. So there's that one there. I think as far as my favorites on here, if I'm trying to get a snow look, I think this is my favorite, the mix between Valhallan Blizzard and the Liquid Frost. But as far as cool factor, I think just the Liquid Frost by itself has a really good look. If I was doing like an armored knight that was maybe out in the cold and I wanted to frost up his armor, I love how this like crystallizes on the ends. This just has a really cool look to it. So for snow effect, Valhallan Blizzard. For frost, this Liquid Frost works really well. The other thing to keep in mind is, even though these are intended for snow and ice, doesn't mean you can only use those for snow and ice. So when you look at some of this stuff like, you know, this frost, could you use some of this for fur, for instance? Like if you wanted to add, maybe you've got a figure that is supposed to be an animal, but it doesn't have a whole lot of textured fur on it. You could potentially put some of this on it and you can see like the little lines and texture that it adds to it that could maybe add something to that. Same thing with the Valhallan Blizzard. Like say that I had a head that I wanted to add like some 5 o'clock shadow to, or like a short buzz cut or something to a head. This texture could be used for that same thing. So if you've got a sculpt that maybe is a little bit flat and you need to add a little bit of grit to it, a little texture, this could be used for that as well. So just keep in mind that even though we're talking ice and snow today, that's not all this can be used for. So my verdict on these, this snow texture one, I'm not a huge fan of. The overall look on this is just kind of sloshy and mushy. There may be some uses for this, but right off the bat, this is my least exciting. As far as snow goes, this Valhallan Blizzard looks really nice, and I can definitely see some different things that I could use this for just different texture. Like even if you're doing, like say you're doing some rust and stuff, I could see adding some of this to areas that you're rusting out, like a little corrosion and stuff, because you don't have to keep it white either. You can paint over this stuff. So, and then as far as just overall coolness factor, I think this frost looks amazing. This is one I could definitely see myself using on some things in the future, not only for the frost effect, but even for like fur and different things. So this one's really cool. So that is, to me, this is the winner of the bunch. But this one and this one I will definitely find some uses for. This one is probably gonna just sit in the backup paint bin and never be used again. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to like and subscribe for more content on customizing. And until next time, always be creating.